Alright, here we are. There we go. Music as well. Welcome, everyone, and oh, hey, thanks, Melkor, for the subscription to Game Boy's Room. With that being said, you guys might notice something immediately. My audio is a little bit different. I'm in a friend's place right now, but have most everything of my normal setup here. That being said, my Patreon is above me. It's in the, little thing up here. Up at it. There it is. But otherwise, I don't have anything else to say, so I'll shut up and let somebody do the recap. Who wants to do it?
I'm good to go.
Go for it.
All right. So, it was the first night of the tournament. We had just failed to claim victory in the log chopping competition. Gaz snuck away while the rest of us were turning in for the night in order to tamper with bows against the wishes of most of the team. He didn't stop there, though, however. He decided to sabotage some horse saddles as well as attaching some kind of a contraption to the hooves of a horse, and then narrowly escaped capture. Hopefully detection as well. We spent much of the next day getting to know the competition. Many of those we met were representatives of Daggermark, the largest city of the neighboring river kingdoms, a place known for its spies and treachery. The archery competition was the second one to be held. It went very well for us. Giraffe placed first, going head-to-head with another elven archer, and a half-elven archer who didn't do quite as well, but either way, we celebrated for a bit before taking another look around the grounds that night. And a few things we noticed. One, the arms dealer from Cheliax had offered us a discount if we could supply her with some tiefling blood. Gaz and Parenth decided to help her out, searching around for willing donors, and found one. So she promised a 30% discount on one item, and said we could earn a similar discount on another if we brought another vial of tiefling blood. Keba, on the other hand, wandered off, feeling conflicted about how to handle the were-creatures that had been hired by King Iravetti for purposes not yet fully understood, but theorized. The party caught up to him, and they decided to have Giraffe bait them into leading the team to their camp. The ploy worked. The evidence that the were-creatures were picking people off and cannibalizing them was absolutely undeniable, as you can see on the screen. The were-tiger was slain, and the were-rat surrendered. Gaz was left with a concerning bite wound that we'll probably need to have looked at. But Keba was left conflicted on whether to execute this murderer or show mercy as his teachings require. And that's where we left off.
That you have the voice of Armag, not the Twiceborn. You killed the Twiceborn. Armag, the Firstborn, the one who had shirked even Pharasma's willing of his death for a time, whose soul now occupies that blade that you now take as your own, spoke within your mind, said, "You know what he's going to do. He will kill again and again. You can't let him leave here alive." And yet, you still have them in your custody, as Shellen would wish of you. Anybody who surrenders, you ought to hear them out, at the very least. As they've surrendered, this were-rat who had shot you full of arrows with that oath bow they have on their inventory, I can in fact put that out to chat here.
It hurt.
Curious about it. They now make their hands. "Look, you Shellen types, you don't kill your prisoners, right? Why don't I tell you everything I know? I give you back all that gold that I took from you, and, we go our separate ways. I'll leave the stolen lands entirely."
Look at what you've done to all these bodies around us.
"Oh, well, nobody's gonna miss them, and we have to eat, don't we?"
You can eat animals like the rest of us do. Animals and plants. Grains. Bread.
You've never met our kind before, have you?
What?
When's the last time you've seen a werefolk not have to kill for their food? And even then, the full moon comes once a month. And even the best of us are forced to feed. How we truly wish to feed. It's just the way of the world.
But surely, surely that urge, that drive could be put to a better purpose.
It's already far beyond apparent that this is a killing of excess, not of need.
As an invisible kobold. From the shadows. No. But, as there's this back and forth between Keba and Gaetane, almost chiming in. Do the others present here have anything to say? Well, Giraffe is sort of like back here.
He's doing giraffe things.
Yeah.
Parent is gonna take the guy's bow away and try to get the gold back too that we gave him.
Okay. You guys may be able to help me with that. How much gold was it?
500.
500, that's what I thought. So I'll put that into his inventory so you can take that back. There you go.
I will certainly take that, thank you.
Parent, don't you mean 5,000?
Ah, yes. Mm-hmm. You could have said 600 and I would have believed it.
Not 5,000.
Fascinating.
Gaz, I believe this money was yours.
No, it was mine.
Yes.
Here. He tosses it to Gaz.
Mm-hmm.
Gaz pockets the money for now.
Yeah,
He'll
it's in
return
the...
it eventually.
It's in
It's
the...
on the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me, Rat. How many others of you are there
Others?
in your group?
Well, we made up a force of mercenaries. A couple dozen. Of course, our kind easily rips through 100 levied troops. So, well, we're worth our weight in coin. But yes, couple dozen more. Several dozen more.
Well, here's what I think should happen. You and your mercenary should leave this land and never return. Or I'll go find your camp. And smiles.
Yes, of course. I mean, we're the most powerful of our troop. You would make mincemeat out of the rest of them. I've heard of the lightning that crackles from your fingertips. Willing to risk that.
Just imagine it flying between all your friends if you don't leave.
Oh,
That's what you want, correct, Keba? For them to leave and never return?
Yes. Yes. That is what I want.
that is not what you want. Keba, there's this strange sensation that washes over you. This urge to just end it all here. Roll me a will save.
My sword's calling me out here.
But with a natural 20, Keba, you let it completely wash over you, and you realize, yeah, I am doing what I want. This is exactly what I want. I would never want to slay someone that is surrendering, that is promising to leave these lands behind. Perhaps some other day they will be a threat to somebody else, but you can't take their choices away from them. You can't take that opportunity to change away from them. That is not what you want. You resisted that suggestion spell.
Gaz, Yarmos here. Are you okay with them leaving? Should probably ask for everybody's opinions here. We're all the rulers, after all.
I would personally wish to see them undergo due process, but I have no idea how fair Pitax is in that regard.
Considering
fair
their
at all.
considering their Iravetis payroll, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a very, very short process and they will go scot-free.
I agree with Gaz.
Personally, I'm just fine with letting them go. We've done our business, they've done theirs. Quid pro quo.
Well, I'm not staying any longer. Sorry, Yamasu.
Well, if they do go, I'm not exactly happy about it, but we should at least make sure that the fate of all those here at least comes to light. Their families deserve to know, at the very least.
You're going to search for Pitaxian families? That might be difficult.
It's not something that we could do on our own. But we can at least inform. I'm not so sure about that.
We'll see. See if we can figure something out by the end of the Rushlight Games.
I'm sure we could probably always just report this to the guards, that we found it while we were wandering.
I don't know if I would recommend that. At least not yet.
Well, yeah, I'm going. So they rush away.
See to it that you do, and all of your people.
Am I following him to kill all of them?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. Parent winks as he says that again. he looks to Gaz mostly.
Yes.
Who's to say they won't show up someplace else against us all the same?
I mean, well, I'm sure I'll be able to, not join the ranks.
You should probably get that looked at, by the way.
Well, we're in the middle of a tournament. It's hard to get that looked at currently.
One of you to roll me a deception check.
One of Gaz or parent.
Yeah.
Is Gaz any good at deception?
Absolutely not.
Well, good thing I just got this feat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Okay. So, you may be giving the idea to the heir here. The only person that's not a part of your group that's listening to you at this point being Armag. Perhaps this idea that you will go and kill them off will appease the blade. You're not sure, though. Oh, Nix, can you help me with the chat there?
Of course. 1 second.
I don't want to lose solicitors. Thank you.
I used to wonder how many people fall for that kind of thing.
I mean, if you fucking do that, you just get banned. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, butting.
Yeah. Anyway, back to things here. You guys have dealt with this threat here. Did I actually, for the purpose of the tournament, it's more of like a, it's not a like an experience thing. It's more of like a track of, chapter-based leveling up. So, no worries on those.
Oh, switching to milestone?
Just for the tournament.
That
Because
makes
tournament's
sense.
a special case.
Yeah. Well, at least we took care of the other one, and they shouldn't bother us again. Let's head back to camp, okay? Well, the tournament.
Yes, that would be best.
Heading back to our cushy hotel rooms.
Up on the Royal Blue.
Do we get room service?
You could, certainly. Have some servant rush out and get you some meals and such. But as you guys arrived here, as I recall, it was later in the day. Actually, quite late, because
This
it was
is
nighttime.
like evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would make it back to the Royal Blue pretty late at night. Nobody really notices your return. And take your rest. For the purpose of it, I'm going to move us back to the standard Rushlight grounds here.
Actually, why don't you check in with the Lady Belladame at some point?
For Gaz's condition that may or may not be concerning.
Listen, we don't have enough catnip to deal with Gaz if he goes crazy.
I don't need catnip.
Just keep a just tie up a silver coin on a string and keep it against your skin. If it starts to burn, let us know immediately.
I'm also not gonna do that.
But yeah, as you guys get some rest here, go ahead and click the rest button on your character sheets, and of course, you guys can max out your HPs because you have plenty of time during the morning to do all the treat wounds rolls. No need to do them over and over. The foregone conclusion. Sorry if the video is like jumping around, I'm changing things up here. Monsieur Keba, Gaz, Parent. And with that, you guys rest up, recuperate. I'll get Giraffe up. There we go. Yeah, oh, and I forgot to mention, Giraffe will be joining us tonight. It just is going to be like an hour later, so which means like 30 minutes or so right now. Otherwise, is there anything else you guys do in the night, or do you just go through the whole rest?
I think Parent is good. He's not actually gonna stick to his word of massacring that camp.
Oh yeah.
Think of all the EXP.
Oh wait,
Yes, the XP during the milestone section.
Good call.
they probably have high reflex saves. I'm sure they would crit on the chain lightning.
I mean, natural 20 just does it. But
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not. Parent doesn't have anything else to do.
we will then
Nothing comes to mind for me either.
move on to the next day. You guys return to the grounds here. On the next day, you seem to recall that the tournament for, or the competition for the boasting is actually at noon time. So quite quickly, as you get back here, you'll be expected to head up to the stage with all the other performers, but it gives you maybe a little bit of time before that. Do something, if you wish, on the tournament grounds.
Now, what's your strategy, Keba?
I do believe honesty is the best policy in most things. We had some very impressive victories against some powerful foes.
Yarmosir, is that Wolfsbane?
No, it is the hypothetical recipe that I may be getting in the future of Wolfsbane.
Ah, yes. Hypothetical recipe.
The hypothetical cure for Gaz's issues.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetical cure for the issue that I guess hypothetically may or may not have at this point in time.
I wonder what the rules are for this competition, or if people will be cheating today. Huh?
How would you cheat at a boasting competition?
I can think of a few ways.
Yarmasir, I have a spell that can control your mind. Or I can say a word and make you do something against your will.
I also want to remind you that you can still sleep poisons and various other goods into people's food and drink.
Are you going to go watch the concession stands, Gaz?
Maybe.
Yes, that's exactly why I've been at concession stands every time we come by here, to make sure that doesn't happen.
You do.
Yes, I'm sure all those pretzels you've been eating have just been to check them out to make sure they're safe, yes?
Yes, this was an important job back in the Warren. Only the most esteemed Kobold would do it for a chief.
Yes, the
Yes. Just the way someone, every noble has their own cup taster to make sure they're not poisoned, huh?
Wait, should I have had somebody checking all my drinks?
I'm sure you'll be fine.
I'm sure. Now, I think I spot somebody that I might like to have a word with.
you have plenty of people to talk to, so you guys can split up as you will, or join each other for any conversation. Keba, who are you walking up to?
These two are always together, I've noticed. I've been observing them each day.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you walk up, you begin to overhear some of the conversation. This sort of bejeweled dwarf fellow, sort of with this bejeweling of his beard itself, clangs as he speaks. And as he speaks, this boisterous voice comes out. Well, aye, but you know how those actors are. Well, I'm one of the actors, first of all. You shouldn't exactly speak of us that way. Look, I understand that while I'm an actor, I do not boast well. You're the boaster here. Oh, hello.
Why, hello there. I've noticed you two around. I figured I might as well introduce myself.
Oh, yes, you are the... Keba, right.
You're well versed. Impressive.
Well, they've seen you around the whole time and you've been making waves, your group, your kingdom, the newcomers to the block.
I suppose it's true. I don't particularly blend in very well.
None of you do. But which one of yous are competing in the boasting competition?
That would be yours truly.
Aye, then I'm your competition. I've been trying to get Esmeralda to get into the competition herself. She's a great actor, but, well, she doesn't think that acting goes to boasting as well as I think it does.
That entirely depends on what your specialty is in the area of acting.
Well, my specialty isn't exactly something I brag about. Usually I'm just some damsel in distress in another Iravetti glorifying piece. Another one of the damsels he saves. But don't let him hear that, of course.
I might like to see one of these productions at some point.
Well, the only place in Pitax proper that you find the theater is the Red Crescent Theater. That's where all the, all the actors congregate. I'm not its, chief, so to say. The name is blanking me at the moment, but I'm Esmeralda Ilata. I can introduce you to them, if you're ever in Pitax.
I would be happy to take you up on that offer.
Oh, but you've got to beat me first. to get through to her.
To beat you first?
In the boasting competition.
Well, of course. I plan to do just that.
Hey. Well, I'm not going to give you any pointers or anything like that. I think I'm going to see you on your way. Let's
Of
let
course.
the competition figure it out later.
I look forward to seeing you on the stage.
Hey. With that, we shift over to anybody else who has a different conversation going. Anybody have anything in particular they were going for?
Garmos is passing by Ilwraith after grabbing another pretzel.
Mm-hmm. Once again, the man seems to be fidgeting with like dice in his hands. Coins like, you know, that like rolling of a coin through your like fingers and such. Everything he can to, well, just keep his fidgeting down, so to say. Oh, you again.
You did. Well, you did make good on your word. You made quite a performance at yesterday's competition.
Yes, but it seems as though I miscalculated how flamboyant I needed it to make, or needed it to be, I should say. Oh, damn the perception of those audience members.
Well, it seems you at least had a plan for how you were gonna pull it off. I suppose that's a bit better than what the other chap caught cheating was trying.
Yes, I mean, you know it by now. I was trying to mix magic into my shots. I feel as though that was kind of the only way I was going to win against the other archers there. I'm not an archer by trade. More of a trickster with dexterous fingers. For a decent archer, but not an archer that wins competitions. Hey, nobody
Well,
has
is that-
rules in Daggermark, so should I care about the rules here?
Well, if you're not true to the competition, at least you're true to yourself. But, well, did yesterday's display exempt you from the rest of the competition?
It necessarily doesn't, in fact. It only disqualifies you from one competition. But I'm not partaking in any of the other ones.
All that showmanship, but not much of a taste for boasting.
Oh, another fellow from Daggermark is doing the boasting for us. What was his name? Oh yes, it was Mimon. He's on our team, down there.
Interesting fellow.
Well, he's got quite the interesting tale. Subterfuge and intrigue. One of my favorites.
So he has a yarn he has in mind to be spinning at the boasting competition?
Yes. Intrigue, subterfuge, drama. Dramas of a spy.
Well, let's hope for everyone's sake that it's not a non-fiction piece, at least.
Oh yes, and I feel that isn't there someone from Taldor who claims to be like Mimon Espond? It's so close to their name too. James Bond. Anyway.
I just took a deep breath.
Well, I won't keep you any longer. I need another drink. So, the shift from Yarmsir. Did anybody else have anything in particular?
Well,
I-
oh, go ahead.
I might have something I want to do. This guy, come on. Does he have a Does he actually have like a book he's reading from? Like he's like studying a book.
You can certainly see that he is like going over his notes. He has a quill in hand. Seems to be a voracious note taker.
All right, I'm gonna try something. I don't need to be nearby for this.
Okay.
So Panther's gonna like go over here and chill out with Gaz. but he is going to cast Clairvoyance above him.
Okay.
Namon. I'm going to try to read his notes. I'm going to switch out the spell though first.
Yeah, throw it in the chat. Take the 10 minutes to sit down, go through your notes in your own book to quickly sort of shift over using clairvoyance. And as you conjure this floating eye invisibly there, checking around, I do want from you I will say, Arcana check.
Okay. Like, he can cast this from anywhere. I don't need line of sight. So he could, like, sneak off into, like, a bush
Yeah.
or something to do this if needed.
Yeah, that's not what I'm worried about. More of the
Okay.
clairvoyance's position, and clairvoyance's, well, like the way you cast it to get the amount of information you want. Testing that here. Okay. So, that can be public there.
Nope.
Not recalling knowledge. But,
Oh, you know what? I'm going to use a hero point.
okay. You recall from Gaz.
Oh,
Or-
it hit it again.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's fine, that's fine. Pull out. There we go. You... Check one thing. Okay. You quickly sort of raise the eye into space above Monospond as he's sort of writing down into his journal. He seems to be tapping his quill as if in thought against some words about Calistria. That's about as best as you can get, because it is almost like looking through a fisheye lens. It doesn't have precise details, and it sort of like loses detail the farther away you look through the eye. At least, that's how I run it. Not like a perfect thing. I think that's
I
how...
was just trying to get some more information to, like, help Keba or potentially ruin this guy's act by, like, knowing the punchline to his story or something.
Well, he seems to be talking about some sort of encounters with Calistrians. Calistrian priestesses, I will give you.
Thank you.
I'm not surprised. No.
So Parith does that. Gaz, did you have anything in mind before the competition begins?
Well, he was gonna search out the resident expert on things, and he was gonna lay it on thick to get their help.
Ah, welcome
He-
back.
Good morrow, my dear dame. He bows down comically low and grins sheepishly up at her. I may have run into a pair of ruffians and may have caught myself a little something, if you catch my drift.
Roll diplomacy check.
I'll hero point that.
And catching yourself... where diseases again? Yes. I can see it on you, I can sense it on you as she casts this sort of, quick sort of, status sort of magic to see your status, see your ailments and such. But this... you haven't ran into something like that. So deeply ingrained. Have you? This seems perhaps beyond my own capabilities. See,
That
I
is-
can... Sorry, go ahead.
That is rather problematic to hear, I won't lie, but surely you can recommend a course of action or maybe refer us to an expert in that topic?
Perhaps. You see, I can cast the spell, but the power of the curse in one so old, aged, requires more powerful castings of the particular spell, which I do not have. I do not have it in me. And who I could send you towards, well, that is a problem for yourselves. I don't know anybody else who could deal with such an ailment? Perhaps one of the priests in Pytax. I hear that there are two priesthoods there, the Desnans and the Callistrians, that maintain a bit of autonomy from Castruccio Iravetti. They are the closest by who could perhaps give you that service.
That is actually quite helpful. I'm thankful for your advice.
Of course. My advice is free, at the very least.
You are too generous.
So, step away from her. Parents sort of snooping on Mimon's notes, Keba getting to know some of the other competitors, and the name of another location of import, the Red Crescent Theater in Pytax. We're learning a lot about the city as you've taken part in this tournament. Of course, you're almost here. Oh, Ilwraith. Getting that information about Mimond. But, you guys hear a clamor up the hill as it seems as though, well, the first thing you catch is the gleam of something, well, golden on the brow of a dusken-haired man that you have met a couple times before. Seems he is stepping down amongst the common folk of his kingdom, of course with guard at his side, as well with Villamor Koth. His throngs of crowds rush up and cheer for Iravetti, and he sort of tries to call him, please, please, I have granted you so many of these gifts, I do not need your praise. I give them freely. Just enjoy yourselves. People are shouting, oh, he's so humble, he's so kind of a king. A lot of sycophants, it seems. As many other people sort of stay to the sides and just watch on themselves. Makes his entry. Raph joins you guys. And Nunzio Arpaia also sort of rushes up behind and towards the stage as he sort of calls out to the crowds, please make room for the king. The boasting competition will be taking place in a few moments here. All the competitors, if I can find you in this crowd here, get in up backstage there, please. You'll find the doors on the side. As everyone begins to sit down amongst here and stands in the crowd behind. See many of the other competitors also making their way back.
Yep, including me.
Kenneth moves in for like a front row seat almost.
And am I missing one competitor? Yes, I am. Someone you've never talked to. And so, as everyone is taking their seats here, drag a few more tokens over and change the music. Go to something a little different. There we go. As Castruccio Iravetti sort of sits down, he sort of scoots actually over towards Gaz. I hope I'm not intruding, but I couldn't help but notice that technology that you wear on your back. It looks very close to Numerian technology. It wouldn't happen to be such, would it?
Well, as it so happens, I'm a Numerian myself. I worked with the tech there, but this thing here, he taps his backpack, is all me.
Ah, when you said you worked with the tech, I have heard many times before people say that same phrase, except for adding technic to the end of it. You had no dealings with the Technic League?
Well, I very much have, and admittedly, I am still mourning it, but, well, what's done is done.
What's done is done. Sometimes, as adventurers, we make our sacrifices, even if it means working with those slavers. Ugh. None of that in my kingdom.
I'm surprised to hear that, to hear you familiar with the Technic League, though. I admittedly took you to be more one of the barbarians in Numeria rather than one of the, you know.
Well, most everyone in Numeria is a barbarian of a sort, unless they live under the Technic League. That's the problem of it. I myself was a straddler of, well, different places. I actually was a slave myself, taken from one of the tribes to the Technic League.
So you grew up under the League as a slave, huh? I
For a
wasn't familiar
time,
with.
but before I was even a young man, I broke free of those bonds. It's a common story, I must admit, though.
It's inspiring nonetheless.
Well, it's a tale less known in my chronicles. There's not much I remember, so my chroniclers don't really write much about it. But between Numerians, we can both agree or both understand what it really was like. People here wouldn't understand. These common folk. They have it so very easy here.
So very easy. Yet, can't help but be grateful about the rather harsh lands in Numeria. It shapes powerful men just as you.
Aye, it does. You can ask Villamor Koth about that as well, my ever-trustworthy companion in those quests. Well, that's all behind me now.
He does look more like I would imagine a, well, Numerian nowadays to look.
Aye, but you'll have to ask him about that. But good luck getting it out of him. He prefers his wine and ladies and winning competitions to, well, storytelling, as he likes to say. Here. Enjoy the servants' gifts as he brings up like platters of grapes and wines and cheeses and such. And let us see what these boasters really have to say about what their experiences are. And if they hold a torch at all to what it's like in Numeria.
Gas can't help but chuckle at that. I'm sure that even with all of their embellishment, they won't even come close.
And with that, we sort of shift back to the backstage here. Keba, you take a look at your competition. Ankus Deperage, that dwarf you just met, Mimon Aspad, your allies have been spying on. Milessa, I think you guys spoke to at the beginning when she was talking to the dwarven axe lumberjack lady as well. She is certainly of Callistrian stock. Seems to have this deep scowl towards Mimon Aspad, though he seems himself oblivious to it. Keba, you notice it just because of your perception DC.
Nice.
There's this quiet, sort of, Duskin-faced woman, sort of, who, is simply lost in thought at the back. You've really spoken to her. She's a mystery in this competition. But there is also Annamede Belavarah, who sits at one of the tables there, just lightly brushing her hair as if this is a foregone conclusion to her. Alright, everyone, Nunzio says. This competition is all about the response of the crowd. The crowd, of course, is here, well, half drunken and, well, full of mead and ale and, well, turkey legs. So you can trust them not to all be trying to be biased for their own nations. What you cannot trust, however, are interlopers in the crowd trying to rile them up in particular ways. If you have anybody of yours in the crowd, advise them not to try to interfere too much, else we'll have to ask them to excuse themselves, as it will be against the spirit of the competition to try and specifically rile it up themselves. It is about your story, about the reaction of the crowd to your actions alone. Are we clear?
Crystal clear.
Everyone else nods. As for that, there will be 3 acts for each of your boasts. Try to mix things up, else the crowd will not accept a boring sort of similar story. What he means by that mechanically is that you must use a different skill check, like basically all 4 of the charisma checks, diplomacy, intimidation, deception, performance, or a lore skill. Everything else you cannot use. But you have to mix it up each round of 3 rounds. So if you use diplomacy first and you don't critically succeed, you have to use something else like performance on the second round. And then something else on the third. And with that, the only other thing is, well, there is no order that we have prepared for you all, so it is simply how you each wish to organize yourselves and who wishes to go first, who wishes to go last. Choose wisely, as some of you may have, well, a competitive advantage if you go after somebody who lambasts you in some way, boasts against you personally. Think about it. But if that is all clear, we'll get on with it.
Oh boy.
Keba, you have an opportunity to go first if you want to. Or do you wait?
I want to wait.
Okay. Well,
Best for last, eh?
sort of fluffing his collar and tipping that sort of feathered hat, Maman Espand does sort of step through the curtain first. To the bold go the spoils, or so they say. I shall go first. Maman Espand comes to this stage here. You're all sitting and the crowd goes a little bit quiet, out of respect to the performance. As Maman Espand steps up, he begins with a flourishing bow. His hat almost teetering down, but seems to be weighted so that it doesn't fall off even if he bows so low. As he rises back up, it sort of teeters back, always flourishing, always sort of moving, it seems. And as he continues to move, sort of stepping side to side, or rather not side to side, or rather pacing, he gives the crowd a bit of suspense. As he is quiet for the first few seconds, then raises a finger, looks to the crowd. Oh, there are one of many stories to tell, but this one I think will pique the interests of a crowd that has already tasted much ale and many, well, amorous affairs. During this competition, I, of course, am Annamede Belavarah, a master infiltrator. I, representing Daggermark, have made infiltrations all across the River Kingdoms. I have manipulated the ebb and flow of political power for nearly a decade in these lands. I have controlled every fiscal and social policy of every kingdom in these lands to some degree, with my influences in their senates, influences in their councils. I always was there in some way, in some form, whether by letter or in person. They knew my, well, whispers. And he is going to start with an intimidation check, as this is supposed to be like an intimidation, a feeling that, well, was he influencing things in my own nation? But it falls on deaf ears, it seems. Oh, and also the DC for all of these checks is 30.
Kind of mumbles. I've never heard of this guy before.
The fall on deaf ears is people sort of mumble to themselves like, who is this guy? I don't know. But, of course, that is not all that I have done. And perhaps I can lighten the mood. One time, in a dalliance, in one of the many nations, one I cannot name because of my endeavors, I stole into a temple of Callistria one moonless night. And I tell you, of all 7 of the priestesses, not one of them I did not have a tumble with that very night, and not one of them knew until the very end. Why, I broke the news, gathering them all together in the courtyard, told them all to meet me there, just to see the look on those Callistrians' faces, and oh, it was a scornful look on them. All, including the High Priestess. And when they all realized that I loved none of them, I escaped on the back of the sacred giant wasp of the temple and kept the High Priestess corset as a trophy. For this, he's rolling deception. Spinning a almost implausible tale. How could these Callistrians, of all people, allow this man to make so many amorous affairs with many others in the same temple? Preposterous, but it's also intriguing. Also curious how this actually really happened. People are enthralled, so he gets 1 point as the crowd cheers and allows him to go on to his final act here. And so, with all of this, I tell you why I did it. I did it not for the fame, not for the glory, but for the rush of it all. And he goes through a little bit more about himself, with a final performative sort of end to it. Just an autobiography, but it falls again on deaf ears. People don't care much for his self-aggrandizement here.
They only care about relationships, apparently.
It seems so. Well, you can make a comment about people in the real world, but anyway.
Daggermark is really going through it this competition.
As the people are politely clapping at the end, they liked the sort of snazzy part of it, but the rest fell flat. As he takes a honorable bow, he will slip back to the back. Nunzio steps out. Judging by the crowd's cheering, or lack thereof, 1 point to Daggermark. As he swishes back to the back, who shall we have next? I'll go next. I need to get these people actually cheering. No offense to you, Mimon, but he didn't really get them going like I will. And so,
This works for me.
Anchor Steparoge steps to the fore. Alright, I'm not gonna waste any of your times. I'm going to tell you a story. A story of the high seas. But not only our seas. The seas of the stars themselves as well. I, Anchor Steparoge, I stowed away on the Sea Wraith, which many of you may know is the ship of the goddess of pirates, Besmara. And then, as it rose from the waters of our realms into the waters of the astral seas, I had many adventures. As he goes on into small sort of tidbits of the ship itself, of this sort of grandness of it, he's going to roll his performance, which does succeed. People start to get really interested on the edges of their seats. Okay, this is starting to be interesting.
Not bad.
Angus Debergo, Luminary of the Stars.
In particular, though, I was in a game of cards out there against a Deva and a devil. I being the mortal between them, it was, well, a dangerous game. They wanted to claim my soul for the heavens or the hells as as my bid, and so I let them do it. But if I won, I wanted the Deva's wings and the devil's beard. And as you might guess it, as he goes through the tribulations of this, well, card game with the Deva and the Devil, he eventually, of course, wins. The Deva's wings and the Devil's beards. So he's going to roll a diplomacy check for this one. But it falls pretty flat, actually. We're like, okay, it's a card game. Yeah, anybody can tell about a card game.
Who would wager their beard and their wings on a children's card game?
I don't see any wings anyways. Beard, sure.
But strangely, despite the audacity of his claims, the crowd seems particularly excited, delighted by this tale. If anybody has... Actually, since you guys are in the crowd here, I want you guys to make a perception check. As you're noticing, okay, this is a little bit weird. Why are people cheering this on? This doesn't hit as hard as the others have. Neither Parent or Gaz have any idea what's going on, but Yarmsir, you notice that there is a halfling in the crowd that seems to be subtly casting spells on key members of the crowd, seen then, almost after casting that, to be cheering and hollering.
Your Mercier taps Parent on the shoulder. Hey, you see that? See what that person's doing?
Parent whips around to look at whoever's Yarmosir is pointing out.
The halfling in the crowd here, nondescript otherwise, is still sort of twiddling his fingers underneath his sleeves, pointing little, what you can start to recognize, incantations towards key members of the crowd. Yeah, you guys are recognizing it now.
I really wish I had, like, a subtle spell or something. I had such a good idea.
But there's one more thing.
Parent is going to, as this next tale is starting, he's going to move through the crowd and accidentally ram into this halfling to distract him.
Okay. For the purpose of it, I want you to roll an acrobatics check, sort of like squeezing your way through the various members of the crowd to get over to this person. And you do squeeze through, and you sort of bump into them, you sort of like headbutt them almost. Like, hey! What's wrong with you? Just go back to your seat.
I'm sorry, I was needing a little bit of air. It's a little crowded up front. You don't mind if I just stay right here, right? Parent kind of just sits down right next to them. And he just stares at them
Well, that seat,
knowingly.
that seat's taken.
Yes, it's taken by me now.
Well, my friend, he... Alright, you can sit there. He seems to stop his antics, at least at this point. And the crowd immediately sort of starts to die down again. So he's not going to get an extra point because of that ringer in the crowd. And he went through a final sort of bout, final deceptive bout of his different adventures aboard the Sea Wraith. But again, because he doesn't have that ringer, it's not really hitting the crowd well at all, in fact. Only
Just keeps pestering this guy.
No, my family doesn't come from Taldor. It comes... I'm trying to listen to... But you're pestering them enough that their strategy just is falling flat. They can't really cast, they can't really... Well, while you're looking at them, they're not going to cast right in front of you. And Angus's performance only gains him 1 point. Something happened with those people, I tell you, they're not drunk enough. 1 point to Angus Staperoge. See who comes next. We'll see if they can actually get you people going. Ah, yeah, thank you for noting the chat there. Still haven't found a solution to that. I'm at a friend's place at the moment. I didn't even have time to... Ooh, is that... What the fuck is that? Jesus Christ. I am so sorry about that. That is that tab not being muted properly. And it seems to have had a backlog of noise on that. Okay. That was weird. Sorry. But, with that, Keba, you have an opportunity to go again, or somebody else will take your place.
I will go next.
Okay.
So Keba steps out, Gaz will like sort of wonder aloud. So today has been kind of disappointing with the fun.
Well, it's okay. Looks like Eva's coming up. He'll be like the turkey in the middle of a sandwich of bad performances.
Are you saying that because he's a bird?
No, I'm saying that because this will be where the meat of the show really is.
Just don't call him a turkey. I don't think he'd like that.
So, Keba, anything you do in the back before you step out?
I have my lyre ready to go.
Okay. So, as you step through the curtains, entering stage left, present yourself before the crowd. You sit silently. There's throngs of people, maybe about 100, have come to see this competition, including Kasuchi, including your allies and many foes in the competition. The nerves are a bit high, but you do have something to tell about, don't you?
I have several things to tell about. And I'm going to start with a bit of a warm-up. So I have my lyre with me, and I begin to play, and as I do, I begin to describe my humble origins as the son of a swordsman and a performer who traveled Rostland and returned to train under one of the finest blade masters in Silverhall before coming to the Stolen Lands, where we fought all sorts of wondrous creatures, the primal the primal wyvern and the uh players lacking the language for this, but there's the sirenish thing in the caves and the very I just basically I started talking about various monsters, each one a little bit more formidable than last, and I'm just basically like warming up, getting the music going, just trying to set a good starting tone. So
Okay.
I'm claiming performance for this.
Mm-hmm.
Strong. There once was a champion named Keba the Brave.
You should be up here.
Good enough.
Good enough to get people interested. People are starting to be like, alright, this could be good.
And my story then shifts into the discovery of a spy who's been plaguing the Stolen Lands, interfering, and we caught onto him, and we hunted him, and tracked him. It was a vile gnome, one powerful with sorcery, trying to destabilize the lands, turn the people of the Stolen Lands against each other. And we cornered him, and we took him out, we caught onto his plans, etc. And I'm basically trying to play up Tartuccio's story as maybe a little bit more of a bigger and important role than it really was. It was, in reality, it was kind of sort of our start, but I'm seeing an opportunity here. I'm pretty sure he was Pitaxian. And so I'm placing some extra importance on this and emphasizing his demise at our hand.
Okay. As you're making this roll, Iravetti...
This is my hard one.
Mm-hmm. Iravetti sort of shrugs his shoulders. Oh, a gnome. Who sent a gnome into their kingdom?
We even have their spellbook still.
Okay, hero point?
Okay.
Which I actually aid Keba with this?
Ooh.
You can, yeah, you can certainly try.
Darn, that one fell flat.
Is there actually like an aid action?
Yeah, but you can just roll the deception check as an aid. Oh, there's an effect to aid. Oh, okay. I've never seen that before. But because you are only like untrained in this, it's only a +2. 29
Oh.
is unfortunately just not enough.
Yeah.
He was not able to bring as much interest into this situation about this gnome, so it falls a little bit flat.
I pick it up a bit.
Hmm?
I begin to talk about the drumbeat of war in the lands around oh my gosh. How's my mind blanking on all of these tonight? This is so sad.
Oh no, it's
Damn it.
alright.
D-
Barnhold?
Duke
Drelev?
Relov. Yes. I instead of the Varnhold one, I'm actually going to go after Armag here
Okay.
and describe how we marched upon their warband, how we took out
Tiger Lords. Armag. Proper nouns. Oh, did we lose Keba? Did we lose everybody? Hello, 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 hello. Anybody here? Try and get back in here. Hello?
Hello.
Oh,
Hello?
yes, okay. Yeah, Discord died out.
Hello.
Hi.
It is certainly, hopefully not stage fright, but...
No.
Sorry, yeah, it cut out just as you were talking about going after the Tiger Lords.
Basically, yeah, going after all the Tiger Lords, how we took them out. They're out of the picture. The reason I'm going after this is because how firmly in my heart I believe that this was a Pitaxian ploy.
Mhm.
And I go into facing down Armag the Twiceborn, how we exchange blows. And eventually, I ended his life and eliminated the threat of the Tiger Lords from these lands once and for all. And I'm claiming diplomacy on this one.
Okay.
Going as honest as I can, you know, just it's a retelling. I'm making it heroic. I already have the layer going, etc. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Castuccio comments. Oh, it was just another barbarian tribe. How hard could that have been? Re-rolling immediately. Hey.
Holy smokes!
Okay, so Keba, as
It's
you
so over.
try to talk about this, it seems like people are not all that impressed with this tale of barbarians on the border. People have talked about going to the stars, they've talked about infiltrating entire nations. Just the way you put it to the crowd, it doesn't sound that impressive. Just sounds like another day. Unfortunately, it was meant to be double nat 1. Sometimes it happens. And the crowd is so bored looking, unfortunately. I think that's the end of that. How about we have some of the other competitors go?
I do a super confident bow, flourishing as I head off the stage, with my head held high.
Alright, because of the crowd's reaction at the last there, we do deduct 1 point if the crowd has a negative reaction. 0 points to Scaleport. Katsuchi already sort of leans forward towards Parenth. Are you sure that was the right thing to be talking about?
Listen, we believe in speaking our minds, and if that's what Keba wanted to speak about, that's what he speaks about.
Well, it may be a little too close to home, don't you think? So he sort of leans back. Anzio sort of back here. Alright, come on, this better not be our worst boosting competition as a whole. Who can take the stride here? Who has something powerful to say? Well, I have something, I think. Kayla Ravenbrow steps onto the stage. Hello, everybody. I'm Kayla Ravenbrow, and you see this adventurous-looking young woman sort of step onto the stage. I have a different tale for you. I have a tale steeped in reality, in harsh realities. A tale about fighting the common folk, not for one's own glories, not for one's own kingdom, but just for the villages that need it. I tell you the tale about how I single-handedly saved a small village in northern Gaunt from the ravages of a demonic chimera who had wings of fire and a scorpion's tail. But I must tell you, why did the the nation of Gaunt not come to their aid? Well, you must know a little bit about Gaunt first, and its terrors, I must say. It is a land of perpetual revolution. The real powers that be bring out the guillotine for any who shirk their authority. And, well, it is in constant turmoil because of it, but lore dump is not very effective on the crowd. She fails to get any interest out of them. But maybe you're all here truly for a tale of bloodshed, and a tale it was. I first stepped into town and saw that the dragon's head was the main threat. Its heat from its flames was going to burn the entire place down. So I lopped its head off with my blade, and I crushed the goat's head under a falling rock as it slammed from its wounds into a cliff nearby. I nearly had the same fate before I was able to dive away. But finally, as it was struggling underneath the rocks, I tore its tail from its back and strangled the lion's head with the tail. The only, strong enough force that could do it was that tail. And she talks about the scariness of the fight, the terrors of it, which seems to fall flat as well. Oh man. But, she adds as a stinger, I did all that without spilling a single drop of the elven absinthe that I had started to drink when the chimera spotted me, as Caden Kalian would approve. As that is her last little stinger, she rolls performance for 3 on the dice. She gets 0 points too.
What happened tonight?
Yes, that was quite grand, of course, yes, sorry folks, I don't want to, keep you all here, but I promise there will be a better performance coming out of this. Just you wait, the final act will be important, but before that we have Milalasa, the Callistrian, as he tries to rile up the crowd a little bit for it, to get at least some prestige out of this for their own competition. They don't want people going home believing this is just a terrible boosting thing, or just terrible in general. As Milalasa, this striking, harsh-looking elven Calistrian priestess steps out. And that black and yellow that the Calistrians are well known for. He gives a scowl to the ground. Alright, you lot. I will tell you, once again, of a story of amorous actions. But mine is not of just wanton desire. Oh no. For it is not so easy, you will learn from me, to seduce a Calistrian, as you might have heard before. You see, in my days in Kionin, the elven nation to the south, you all may know about Tree Razor and his demonic cohort ravaging the woods of Kionin nearby. You might also know that has been going on for quite a while, and many of his demonic flock, attempt to sway ours to their side, not least by seductive means from their succubi. They were sent from Tanglebriar to capture me and drag me back to Tree Razor, to serve as the demon's consort, a grisly fate, I must say. But I was not having any of it. In fact, well, actually, she's going to start with doing a performance check, and then continue the story. 32 does get people interested as she talks of the dangers of this affair. But as the succubus came to captivate me, I turned it around on her. It was the succubus who was smitten with me. And I sent that succubus back to Tanglebriar to send me gifts of strange fungal potions and wines with which that succubus yearns to win my affection back. Rolls deception. This tells a tale of a succubus having it turned all around on them somehow, some way. But there is one thing I must remind you all. A Calistrian never fails to repay what is just due to those who shirk us or, well, draw our ire. I leave you with a savored sting, as we would say. It took me weeks to recover from a particularly embarrassing condition that I caught from my succubus lover, and I hope dearly that none of my lovers since then have been suffering from a painful rash of late. As she makes a sly glance back, you see the curtain part and a floppy-hatted fellow sort of peer through with wide eyes before jumping back, if you remember anything about his story. We always get our revenge, however it may occur. And people are smitten with that. Gets 2 points.
Can't believe this is the one that might win.
Meeman also got 2 points.
Mimon got 2.
Sorry,
Kayla,
Maman?
yeah, Meeman.
Meeman.
Enzio sort of steps out. Well, after that, I see that you people like your, romantic stories tonight. It's interesting. Well, let's see what our final performer has for you tonight. Annamede Belavarah, though she needs no introduction. As Annamede slowly saunters out on the stage, sort of lightly plucking the flute, looking down at it, not even casting her eyes to the crowd as they cheer for her. She finally, sort of, after a few moments of suspense, looks up, sort of brushing her hair to the side with a flip of her head. Welcome, welcome all. I dearly hope I will not bore you, as many of my competitors have so far. Because, as you may have heard before, some of the other competitors seem to wish to speak of political affairs. Political affairs may be boring, they may not be, but I assure you, what I will boast of tonight is something that nobody knows, that I have never spoken of before, but yet here now I shall speak of. I tell you a tale of the beginning of a nation of Scaleport. I tell you that long ago, at their foundation, there was a feast. And there was a giraffe who has entered. Hello, giraffe. With us, Nelder.
Hello.
Yeah. You just got in time for the end of the boasting competition. Nobody's done well at all. But
Like a
Annamede...
lesbian.
That's not good to hear.
But
Glad I'm here.
Annamede Belavarah continues her tale about how the rise of Scaleport, the players' nation, took place. The adventures, the Kingmaker's nation took place. She tells of a feast at Lady Jamandi Eldore's manor. It is well known that it wasn't a peaceful affair, that it was a bloody one, that many of the adventurers who were yearning for charters for land out in the Stormlands were slain, and only a few ended up gaining their charters in the end. Well, I tell you all here that there are rumors that a certain group of so-called heroes fomented it to get a larger share of the land to themselves. And oh wait, in fact, it is not the only time they may have done something of the sort. Not confirmed, but I have sources that some palms were slicked with gold coins, and maybe somehow influenced the events at the bloody feast of Lady Jamandi. The crowd is enamored with this. They've never heard this before. This accusation levied against your kingdom that you may have had something to do with that slaughter yourselves, that you may have done it yourselves to get more land out of the charters, to deal with the competition so quickly. In fact, it is not the only time, because I tell you, another time when this nation took it upon themselves to gain a charter of someone else, rightfully in the hands of someone else, engineered it so that they would gain it. You all remember, years ago, what happened to Varnhold, the disappearance, the vanishing of Varnhold. I tell you all that they engineered that disappearance. It was not Varnhold's agents who created that ancient evil, who awakened it. It was, in fact, the Scaleporter's own agents, who knew of an ancient evil, who knew that it would rise up and cause a terrible fate for those townsfolk, so that they could just swoop on in, take it all for themselves, and act the hero themselves. It was them, I tell you. She once again lays it on pretty thick here with a deception check. That does succeed. He gets 3 points so far. But there is one other matter. There is the matter of Dreliv. As you all remember, he was the final charter holder before Scaleport took hold of it. It all seems so similar, does it not? It all seems so convenient. But there are some tales about Dreliv's insanity, about how they needed to go in and deal with him. But what of Iravetti's work? Fomenting a peace that they so brazenly interluded on, so brazenly broke the pacts of diplomacy by involving themselves in affairs that were not their own, just on rumors alone. He rolls diplomacy for this one. With diplomacy, it succeeds once more, getting a total of 4 points. As the crowd cheers and hollers, they all sort of like take sidelong glances, maybe fearful, intimidated glances towards you guys, as Annamede really lays it on and makes accusations that are not but rumors, still, of course, levied against your kingdom, but rumors well known now to this crowd. They are. I rest my case. It is now for you all to decide. Steps into the back. Takes a sly glance at Keba. Before Nunzio steps out.
Why?
Didn't I tell you before? Loyalty to a nation is paramount. And I find you still a threat. A danger to my nation. I do find it, truly do find it all too convenient. Your rise to power. Who says this would not be a repeat? Sort of scoffs, steps out. Well, it seems as though the champion of the boasting competition is Annamede Belavarah, representing the home nation of Pitax. 3 cheers for Pitax, and cheers, of course, for our Grand King Castruccio Iravetti. As people holler and cheer, you guys are left in the dust. As again, it seems you have been beaten. Perhaps viciously so. Perhaps they laid it on much thicker than Keba ever did, and the crowd was much more enamored with this rumor-mongering that it was. No hard feelings, of course, Iravetti says as he gets up. It's all just performance, is it not?
It is strange that all these things seem to happen, though, huh?
Steps away without another word as well. As the crowd begins to disperse, you're all left to your own devices as things dwindle down. Sting of defeat's close to hand.
We should have let her get
The
eaten
frosting
by
on
those
today's pretzel is
wargs.
pretty good.
What was that?
The frosting on today's pretzels was pretty good.
Like your pretzels and frosting. Sounds disgusting.
Well, seems like a Bataxian tradition, perhaps.
Oops.
One I will
I
stay
did not
very far
hear
away.
any of that. What were they saying?
Good morning, Giraffe.
Draft, they insulted us a lot. And that's all you need to know.
Well, to be fair, we did take pot shots first.
True. We should not have saved her life from those works, though. I'm having second thoughts. Is Keba coming out, or is he hiding somewhere?
There's lyre music coming from behind the stage.
Maybe we
I
should
think he's playing the Depression song again. Should check on him.
We should give him some space. So, we have to try very, very hard to win the competition tomorrow if we want a chance at that gold for me.
Well, steps have been taken.
Is it all? Is every competition worth the same number of points? Because if so, the best we're gonna do is tie with Pytax.
Oh, and then we can
It's-
win the tiebreaker.
It's
Easy
better than
enough.
losing the Pytax. Fine, Yarmosir, go check on him before he... I don't know.
Stars and feathers himself.
He's already feathered.
I'd rather not lose.
Keba said he was behind where? Oh,
Yeah, you can totally hear him if you approach. He's playing the lair quietly. Some
hello.
really like melancholic sort of almost ballad. Oh, you're almost
Hello,
here.
Keba.
I didn't
I
expect
don't
you back
think-
here.
Well, I didn't expect just me either. I thought the rest of your friends might have wanted to come. But, well, here I am. Are you feeling alright?
It's strange, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of strange things, but which one are you talking about?
How delicately she plays the heartstrings.
You really believed in her, didn't you?
I still do.
She's just another one of Pytax's pawns. Don't get too worked up, Kiva.
I don't think you understand, parent.
No, I understand quite a bit.
It's
Just
entirely in
because
my
of what-
nature to get worked up.
Is it because she was someone you connected to as a fellow artist?
Still do.
Kiva, do you love her?
Goodness. Gracious. That is completely... Don't even... Don't... Keba just kind of like sputters and walks away. Tries to walk away.
Alright.
We can't have Kiba cavorting with the enemy.
Well, it might not be a bad idea. Ravetti seemed quite into to be have gone closer with Gaz over that performance.
Well,
Give me a few minutes and I'll join you.
hopefully Gaz doesn't turn on us.
Well, he has been making me some good offers. Gas grins.
Remember what we did to those were creatures?
Yeah, well, I'm not a rare creature yet, so you can't do that to me yet.
If Gaz turns into a were creature, can we use the Ring of Bestyle control on him?
Maybe
Issue.
not.
But the sting of that defeat, but Keba eventually coming around, we're gonna take our 5-minute break here. We'll be back in a bit.
Sounds good.
It's so over. We're flopping so hard.
Alright, back on over. So, that defeat still hanging low on your heads, is there anything else you guys would like to do today, or rather even tomorrow, to speak to anybody, the competition, all of that? Excuse me. Or would you like to just head straight on to the joust itself? See what happens with that?
Did any of the people that we can talk with look particularly taken with Annamede's story and might be actually like considering its veracity?
That's a difficult tell. To what
Gotcha.
aim are you asking that question?
Damage control for our reputation.
That could be a diplomacy check as you go around and just try to quash the rumors and tell the true story. Yeah, diplomacy check on anybody.
Yamir tugs at Keba's coat strings and gives a suggestion to him.
I suppose I could do that. I suppose it's the least I could do after the grievous error I made. I owe an apology to all 4 of you. I understand
I
entirely
can't say
why
I
I
know
lost.
I can't say I know exactly how you would feel, but I feel like I've gone through something similar, and the best way to deal with it is to act in the moment. That's what I found.
I know the reason I lost was because I wasn't true to myself. I instead allowed my emotions to blind me and guide me, and lash out rather than stick with what I knew would truly rouse the crowd. This was my fault, and I shall make amends however I can.
Could I
How
buy
should
some?
we go about this?
Would I be able to buy a couple scrolls here, so I can get merchants for that kind of stuff here?
Yeah, you can buy pretty much anything you would normally be able to buy. It's just not 10% off.
Right.
Hmm.
So, is there anything in particular you guys were doing? Anybody you wanted to talk to?
Uh,
Anything you wanted to make happen before the joust?
is the Pitaxian sort of like group around? I'd
Attacks?
personally like to see if we can find out what they might be doing as preparations for their joust.
That would probably be something you look at tomorrow,
Sure.
as they're not preparing for it today. You don't really find Villamercoth around, but yeah. Anything today? Anything you guys are doing today here? We'll start with that. Make it easy.
Yeah.
Hmm?
I mean, if nobody, like no officials stop me, I want to see if I can rouse a crowd and get interest in anybody who wants to hear my side of the story.
Okay. Are you all joining Keba
Starting
for
a,
this?
Definitely, at least watching. Maybe helping.
I'd like to aid, but I don't know how to do it using my skill set.
Parents will aid
Be
by
creative.
like making lots of flashy magical stuff to attract people, right?
Yeah.
I will use the commotion to maybe try and sneak towards Irovedi's tent.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm gonna craft out knickknacks and hand them out to anyone who comes to listen as like a keepsake.
There we go. So, with each of you making those rolls, go for them at the moment. The only one that needs to be blind is Gaz's.
I imagine just Arcana for mine. For spellcasting.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. When it comes to aid checks and like creative handling of it, yeah, there's no like hard and fast rule. It's very easy to like, oh yeah, Arcana works, that sort of thing.
I'm gonna go with intimidation. I don't think much else needs to be said there.
Okay.
Scare people into this area.
Hey, you should go look at this. You should go look at that.
So, everyone helping you, Keba, you're not the only one. You expected almost to walk out here being the only one who really wanted this to happen, but your allies follow you. They're gonna help. And they're helping.
Aw.
Go ahead and roll yours, and we'll add the appropriate aid check modifier.
Okay, here we go. I do have my lyre, and I will strum it as I talk, but I'm not gonna like. It's not really the performance. It's background.
Being true to yourself.
Oh, we could have had that during the.
Right?
We'll take it now. We'll take it.
As Yarmsir is handing out these little toys to get kids to rush up and their parents have to rush after them, these little fireworks parent is using attract people's eyes and then their ears follow suit. Giraffe is being a little bit pushy about pushing people towards it. Maybe some drunkards that should hear it still. You're able to wrangle and push them over. Gaz, you were also sort of using all of this distraction, all of it, including the guards who were also sort of coming up because there's a big crowd forming, to make your stealth towards Iravetti's tent. We'll get to that though after we see what Keba has to really say here. As Keba, you have a crowd standing before you, and you feel the tension in it all. And you're here to relieve that tension. You didn't want to create more tension. You didn't want to talk about the politics of things. You wanted to be true to yourself.
Yeah. All of you, thank you. Thank you for gathering around. I would just like to talk about the true story behind every one of these events. If you would hear, I would gladly share. If you have questions, I will answer each one to the best of my ability. I don't want any of you to walk away from here thinking that any of those rumors were true. That being said, I can also acknowledge there were some blind spots, some areas where we could have done better, but failed in that regard. We're open to that. Varnhold is an example. We could have had much clearer communication set up. We could have paid more attention. We could have looked for the signs. But we didn't do enough. We didn't notice the vanishing until it was too late. It was all that we could do to go in and try to make things right for those who were still there. And for those who remain in Varnhold, we've pledged our support. They are part of our lands in the sense that we technically are ruling over them, in the sense that they do answer to us. But we want them to flourish, to grow, and we will help them however we can. The same goes for Drelev's lands. All that happened in Drelev, it was a bizarre coincidence. We were trying to open up the trade routes that were blocked by monsters in the swamps. And we did so. We wished to report to Drelev our successes when we were imprisoned under, well, with very little explanation other than it was an opportunity to seize our lands. We sought only information, but we were given the point of spears. It was all we could do to make our escape, but we had to confront the Duke himself. And he would not listen to us. He would not speak. He simply saw an opportunity to take our heads. And so we did what anyone would do in such a situation. We survived. And we've pledged our support to their people, to the heir of Drelev, to her husband. We will continue to support them. And that's how we do things. We don't rule with an iron fist. We never will. We're here to bring people together as friends, as partners, as collaborators. Maybe someday you and I can say the same. Not as part of our lands, but as friends of ours. There's too much fighting already. And that's basically the gist. Keba will answer questions. He'll describe things in any more detail that anybody asks for. He'll do all he can.
And as you spend a lot of time answering people's questions honestly, forthrightly, and completely overtaking all that performance, all that deception, all that rumor mongering with truth and fairness and justice to what had happened, justice to the lives lost, people see this as a great thing, a good thing that such gracious rulers did come into possession of these lands, that it was fate that drove great people to rule, not the worst, not the terrible people that could be ruling, not the Stag Lord, not Mordecai, not the Troll King, not Armag, not Drelev, but you. And it seems to basically completely repair what damage Annamede wanted to do. That natural 20, and with all the aid of your allies, it spreads like wildfire. A hopeful message, a truthful, just message, not just rumors, sly remarks. People get back to it. I will say, make things easy. That took you pretty much the rest of the day, doing this sort of fire control, sort of tamping things down. That you end up, once again, at the last night that you'll be here, in fact. As tomorrow at midnight is the drunken joust, and you don't imagine you'll have any other opportunities to talk to people at the nighttime hours here. Maybe some figures they haven't talked to just yet, sorry.
Does Gaz come back?
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Gaz. Let's move over to just different music. During all of that, Gaz took his time. Waited for a little bit of cloud cover, a little bit of dusk cover, to head towards that tent of Iravetti. Despite there being this big crowd, there are still 2 Pataxian wardens that stand guard with their swords tips pointed to the ground, like statues on either side of the tent flap. Surprisingly, though, the tent looks small. It looks like maybe just like big enough for 2 people to sleep in, like big enough and tall enough that it is like a pavilion tent, but doesn't seem that big, surprisingly. Up a hill. What do you do, Gaz?
Gaz will once again simply try to sneak past the guards and into the tent, making use of it, being a kobold in this case.
Okay. So, roll me another stealth check, I will say, for these particular guards. You're trying to, like, go under the flaps into the tent, essentially?
Yep.
So, you do get to the back of the tent, and you go underneath it. But the strange thing is, as soon as you're underneath it, you find just grass. You find nothing on the inside.
Gaz looks rather stunned at that development. He sort of like waves his arms out in front of him to see if maybe the furniture is just invisible through some Numerian tech.
If your arm's out, it's just air and grass inside. The tent pole in the middle sort of holding it up. You're not sure what's going on here, but you're certain you've seen them walk in and out of this.
It's suspicious. Before you're going digging for anything further and risk getting discovered, Gaz will sneak out the way he came and report his findings to his people.
Okay. Back to everyone else later in the day.
Possible it's a magic thing. Maybe it only works by going through the main entrance.
Okay, then why were you doing that?
Well, you raised the possibility of him having some sort of plan and keeping said plan in his tent, so I figured I would check on it to keep us safe.
where the invasion plan, quote unquote, is it?
Yes.
So you have that information.
Is it possible to go through the front?
Absolutely not, unless someone took care of the guards there.
Think you could pull off a Tarchichio disguise?
I don't exactly have the most generic silhouette, shall we say, but I could give it a try.
Maybe that's a bad idea, actually.
I could maybe pass off as a dwarf.
Let me go over there and take a look.
Okay.
Grant is gonna just walk past with his detect magic going.
Sure. You definitely detect a field of magic directly inside the flaps of the tent.
Could I get a read aura off, or would that be too suspicious?
Too suspicious. Read or requires you to have contact with the thing that you're trying to read.
Ah, yes. I could do a reach spell, read aura.
Good. But remember, there's incantations.
Still, 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Brant will come back.
Okay.
There's definitely something magic about it, that's for sure. So either it just teleports him somewhere, or my idea was right. The front of the tent just takes you someplace. But if there is magic, then it has to be pretty strong magic to just be teleportation.
Certainly seems to be nothing hidden in there. Rather rather unelegantly flailed my arms around to see if there was something invisible there, but couldn't find anything. That's probably teleportation.
I could try to sneak in, but if any of us gets caught, it's over.
Is there right enough distraction of perhaps a drunk giraffe needing to be apprehended, then
What?
I don't want him to go to jail. We need him.
I don't want to cause a ruckus.
A distraction, you say?
just chat up the pair of guards in front of Irevedi's tent so that I can have a little opportunity.
I suppose I can try to get in there at the same time, but what is the purpose, actually, of this? If it is a teleport, we don't know where it goes. It could go to his personal chambers or something, and then we'd be face to face with him.
Well,
Say, did he even go back into that tent today?
he does. People do go in and out of that tent, so
It is late.
Catch me up. What in there looks like a teleport?
There's the sense of magic at the front of it.
We're assuming it's a teleport. It's not necessarily what it is, because I can't check it.
it's also
Yes, there's
completely empty otherwise.
Yeah, because it's completely empty.
Yes. So it's strange for him to go in there and there being nothing inside. But what are we going to achieve with this? Maybe it's not worth the risk.
We would have 100% confirmation of just what Irevedi is scheming, aside from some vague notion that he might invade us soon. We could figure out just how he is going to try and invade us. Maybe he'll attack us from underground using, I don't know, an army of ants.
I'm very skeptical of the ant army idea. I'm sorry.
I'm just spitballing, but
It seems that trip into Armag's Grit tomb did a number on your on you, see, huh?
all I'm saying is ants are dangerous.
I wonder why you'd say that.
Well, I can try, I guess, if you guys can keep those guards busy. Or distracted. I doubt they're gonna move.
I might be able to do something.
Okay.
I will definitely accompany you on that trip.
Okay. As you make your way closer to the tent at the top of the hill, it does seem that the only real defenses are those two guards standing in front of a small tent. Almost the defense is that it's unassuming. Out of the way. But you've seen your Eddie head up this direction.
Once parents and Gaz are reasonably close to the place and not being observed, I'm gonna cast invisibility on both of us.
Okay.
And kind of just wait for Kiwa's distraction.
So you go into your invisibility, and Keba also follows up behind you. And what does he do?
Well, people who've seen me around know that I've been going around and doing occasional bits of performing. Why should now be any different? I haven't played in front of these guards yet. I'm going to do so.
Okay. So, with you stepping up, are you basically just like walking up with your lute, starting to play it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Just completely open, brazen, shameless.
Roll performance check.
Not singing. Wait, no, I suppose it would be singing, actually. Singing and looting. So, that applies. It's...
Hearing a voice
Good
from
enough.
behind those plate masks of the wardens. Hear that? Stop right there. The king isn't taking guests at this moment. Been around whence
Oh,
you
but
came.
surely you are. I don't see you doing anything else.
What do you think I'm doing? I'm guarding the king's tent. We are, both of us. You have to go back to the party. It's just
But if I went back to the party, how would you be able to enjoy music?
we're not.
Think about it.
We're not here
I'm
to
bringing it to you.
enjoy music. I need stealth checks from the other two.
And why not?
Do we get a fortune effect on this due to invisibility? Or...
No, invisibility allows for plain sight stealthing in the first place. It's just an allowing thing. Which can certainly
Nothing.
help. Okay. Checking on those guards' things, and of course, circumstances being Keba with his performance check. Oops, that shouldn't be out in public because it's against the DC, so it won't matter here, but you can see the DC is 22. Or 32, rather, because plus 10 to get your DC. Keba is distracting them, yes. Alright, but you know you can't just... How about, Do you hear something? What was... No.
I should think so. I've been playing and singing.
Yaz and parents. One of them looks over in you guys' direction as you're trying to dart through some of the grass there in your invisibility. Kiba, you notice that at the moment.
You know, I'm pretty sure I know that song that, a song that Annamede was doing earlier.
Annamede? What? No, wait, no, I saw something over there. I need to go check that out.
Instinctively, Gaz tries to imitate the chirping of a rat.
Okay, roll me a deception check.
Oh no.
That's an imitation.
Parent also starts making noises to aid Gaz.
Um, um, aid, with
Keba, you can make your own check for this to change the circumstances,
I
change the
love it.
DCs, not an aid action in particular.
Love it. Love it. Performing some more Pitaxian things, something that might be more familiar.
Is this a public role or?
Yes. Or for that, we'll make it public.
Redo.
Okay.
Keeping that roll. It's as best as it's gonna get.
Oh, yes. Untrained at this level. Well. Even with parents maybe taking the lead on it, it's not all that convincing. It's too unconvincing that Keba's Keba's distraction just isn't enough. Alright, I'm going to go check that out. You stay with this one. Something's out here in the grass. As they step over, Parenth and Gaz, you find yourselves looking at them, and their eyes seem to glow a bit green, as if there's a reflection of green in their eyes, seeing you. Royal guards may not go a night without a high-level see the unseen. You have one more chance to do something here. Keba cannot help with it because he's being closely watched by the other. No funny business now.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is See the Unseen a divine or occult spell?
It is an arcane spell, as they are using
Dang.
it.
I mean, I could try to dispel it, but dispelling is not like a silent thing.
It's not, but they can see you now. If they can't see you in the night, it changes things.
Okay, I'm gonna try to hit that guy with the dispel magic then, I guess.
Okay. As they start hearing an incantation, hey, you! Stop casting! But they may not be able to rush up to you as you hear the clank of armor as they start rushing up, lifting that greatsword. They seem trained enough to know a threat, an incantation, when they hear one. Roll, I'm going to say, Parent, as a quote-unquote initiative thing, Arcana.
Alright. I'm gonna re-roll that.
Okay. 31.
This game hates us tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Because their DC for their perception, their initiative, is 32, and there's no competing rolls in PF2E because it's just based on DC or not. They actually no, since it's an initiative thing, that is the competitive roll sort of thing. So we'll do that. But they are able to rush up and heft up their blade. I see someone down here. As you're trying to cast that spell, Parenth, you can continue to go through it. Or, like, go through with it, if you want to here. But at this point, you may be dropping into initiative. Actually, yes, we need to do that.
So they see Gaz too then, in that case.
You believe so, with See the Unseen on them. Yeah, I gotta bring these guards out. So for the purpose of it, this black tent will represent the tent that Iravetti is in. Of course, it is not actually down here, but there's two guards. Keba is next to the other one, about 10 feet away from them there. The other guard ran down towards, like, down the hill a little bit towards Keba, or Aerith and Gaz right here. And the others of the group can be, like, hidden behind a building down the way a little bit. I need initiatives. This has to be done in initiative now.
Beautiful.
I have a feeling that we don't make very good ideas.
I hope you're not relying on me to hit things, because that's not what I'm here for.
Didn't we just discuss out of character like over the last week that we're not gonna ever be able to do deception itself stuff?
Yeah, we did.
I'm the
I
only
had-
one in the group with deception, guys.
Well, I have stealth.
So,
Trained?
Yarmasir and Giraffe, also roll your initiatives for me, please.
Okay.
As, well, just to keep track of where you guys are and what you guys may be able to help with or do here. As Giraffe is hanging back, not expecting much out of this, we'll go into initiative.
Gas
Starting
run.
with Gaz.
Gaz will, in fact, just pop his bracelet of dashing and run for the hills.
Okay.
As he like runs away, he will simply like shout towards the guards. I just wanted to take a closer look at the Numerian tank.
Okay. But yes, for the purpose of Gaz, you do just rush away as far and as fast as you can, 30 feet plus the dashing. It gets you very far. Very, very far. They get you completely out of it, or right back to Giraffe and Yarmasir as you rush back to them.
Draft E or something?
Yes, hi, hello.
I don't think so.
Fully.
Here, Gaz sort of talk to you guys real quick there. Parent may be following suit. What are you doing, Parent?
I'm worried about Keba now.
It's true.
Worried about me? Whatever for?
Parent is gonna fly off,
Okay.
and with tailwind on, my speed is 35 feet. So
Tailwind, or sorry, which ability is giving you the flying?
I am going to be using channel wings.
Okay. So, with your fly speed allowing you to leap into the air, the warden stops in their tracks. God damn it! Keep that other one from escaping! Yarmasir, you might have something you want to do, might not. What do you do here?
I think the best play is to delay until after Keba's turn. To
Okay.
see what happens exactly.
Guy rushes up here. Back up the hill towards Keba. They didn't go too far away from Keba because you were so close to the tent. Keba, they rush up behind you. You there! We're taking you in for questioning.
You want me to go inside? What do you want to question me about? My music? I'd be happy to answer any questions about my music.
It's
I
quite...
can talk all day long.
It is damn convenient that you come up here trying to distract us while there are two invisible someones down the hill.
Not my fault that I'm bright and gaudy. I seem to attract all kinds of attention, following
Oh.
at my heels.
We'll let the king decide that. Are you trying to run, Keba, or are you allowing them to detain you?
I'd like to run.
Okay. For the purpose of it, then, they are going to try to grapple you.
I'd like to see them try.
You're not going anywhere. 24, or 34. Your DC is 34. They just barely do get it because it's match or pass. You're grabbed.
I was joking when I said I'd like to see them try. I actually wouldn't.
And then, as their third action, they're going to try to trip you as well, trying to do a takedown on you. This is map 5, though, against your reflex DC, which is not that great, actually, on you.
So, would you call that a critical?
No, that wouldn't be a critical success. Either way, a prone critical is just d6 damage. So, Eva, you're also taken to the ground by this guard. And, well, the other guard's going to rush up, try to disarm you.
My loot?
Of the glaive on your back, but natural one to disarm.
I'm not sure it came up here with my glaive.
Oh, if you didn't then.
Yeah.
They are going to try to start dragging you instead. But with a natural one on the
Technically, they
athletics.
might notice that I am wearing armor though because it's glamoured.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then they're going to try to drag you, and the opening of the tent is right there. All right, just stop struggling. Just get inside.
Boys, you could be far more gentle than that, I'm sure.
Map 5 on this, 33 against your fortitude save to be shoved or repositioned as it would be. Fails. They're going to go one more. Map 10. And fail that one too. Map 10 down to 24, but not a critical failure because they would have passed on to 34. So just, actually no, that is a critical failure. You can sort of try to push them back, as a critical failure on a shove means that you can shove them back. Or try to, so you can try to shove them back or automatically trip them. I believe.
Shove back sounds wonderful to me.
Just check the shove again. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. No, for a shove, for them pushing you, they just are knocked prone for it.
Cool.
Damn it! Ugh. Keba, you are grabbed and on the ground.
I don't love it. Alright. There are some amazing things I could do here, but I don't think I can do it all in this position.
Mm.
So, that's awesome. Alright, well, first things first, I gotta get out of the shoot. I gotta get out of the grab.
Okay.
Oh boy. I'm not gonna be able to do anything until I pull that off. Oh man. Okay. What is this to get out of that again?
It is going to be an escape action, which is acrobatics, athletics, or unarmed attack modifier. Generally, if you're mastering something, that's your best.
Yep. So that does sound like athletics most likely. Are there any special let's see. Any special modifiers I should know about with that? Probably not. Okay. We'll just call it athletics.
Mm-hmm. You use your raw strength to try and pull yourself free.
Oops, I clicked the wrong button. I'm like, what's nothing happening?
There we are. 13 is going to be enough against the DC of 35 to get yourself wrenched free from their grab, but you're still prone for your remaining 2 actions here.
Stand up and take my first stride.
Okay. Don't let him escape! They're going to... they don't have their greatswords drawn, but they're still going to use the same attack modifier to strike at you. And
I don't know where I should move myself, if at all.
yes, I'm gonna use d4s instead of d12s. I'm gonna just roll the d4s plus the 7 there. Do 2d. To the left is where your allies are, down the hill. But you
If
can
I
move
hand wraps?
anywhere. Sorry?
You got
Yours?
hand wraps?
Enemies don't work off the same weapon
Ah.
rune stuff.
I see no
Okay.
need to follow my allies. I can
So-
go the opposite direction.
Kiba, you take 10 damage from this one's attack opportunity. Because 3 plus the 7 there, of their general sort of strength modifier. This is, of course,
Hold on.
this total of 10.
You said... I'm sorry, how much?
10 damage.
Okay,
I know
I'm just
there's a
gonna-
bunch of rolls. Do just, yeah, minus 10 on yourself, because I'm just rolling those to see what their hits are like. Because
There we go.
they don't have an unarmed strike on their character sheets, right? So I'm just doing it that way to make it easy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna actually run the opposite direction.
Yeah, 1 second. The other one actually also was able to hit you because you're off guard as well. So 6 plus 7 total of, let's see, 13. Oh yeah, thank you. That's stuck. Something weird happened recently with the new updates on that. Anyway.
Is that another 13 after the
13.
10?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, no problem. So, as you take a little bit of blows from them, they still are not able to stop you as you rush away. What is your movement speed?
It's currently, I think it's 30.
So,
Let me double check.
yeah. With that, I'm going to say, because your movement speed is faster than theirs, and there's no reason that turn order should like change how quickly you can move away, now that you've freed yourself from them, you would outrun them because they only have 25 in their heavy armor. So,
Yeah. So I will actually go the opposite way. If there's any place where I could potentially jump off of a ledge or something, I'll do so and like do the whole wing thing.
there is a small cliff, like maybe 30 feet high, that rises near the water. You could dive into the water.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna sprout my wings and fly away.
Oh, okay, yes. Which ability is that? Whenever you reference anything, put it at the chat for me.
Let me do that. Yeah, that sounds great.
Is when you guys say, "Oh, I'm just gonna fly."
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, here.
How do you
I'm
do
gonna
that?
just cast fireball.
Yeah.
I can do that. I don't want to pull it up off my sheet. I know I can do it.
I mean, they
You have
could
to fly, I can
potentially
fly now,
catch up to
so-
me as I do that, though. But you know,
Yeah, it just helps me when I have like specifically, yeah. So, with that, I'm going to say because of your move speed, you would outrun them and have the ability to start rushing off the cliff. There, you escaped from them just well enough that, well, you took some bruises from it. But otherwise, all you hear is shouts in the night. Damn it! Well, isn't that one of the competitors? That's all you hear last. That'll be the end of that.
indeed.
So you eventually get your way back to your group. All of you sort of
I'll take the
reconvene.
roundabout way.
Yeah. There doesn't seem to be like a bunch of wardens rushing around the place, looking for you or anything like that. But you weren't in disguise.
No.
Y'all meet back up. Maybe less invisible.
What happened?
I think that somebody should be the voice of reason when we have these ideas and tell us no.
Well, it's not usually my place to do that, but I could try. Here on out.
The guards didn't seem terribly impressed by my music. I'll just have to try other tents.
It looks like they were dragging you towards the tent, though, weren't they?
Yep, they wanted me to go inside.
That confirms the suspicion that that is a teleport of some sort, probably.
Indeed. Anyway, I'll be spending the rest of the night making the rounds, performing around the camp.
So what I'm hearing is that we can have a lot of fun if we somehow deactivate that teleport.
Also, I might partake in a little bit of alcohol to sell my story, perhaps.
Well,
Maybe.
If the story, well, Gaz did yell out about Numi and Tech as he was running away, so
I'm not sure why you did that.
Oh, it's a plausible excuse.
Did they see your face?
No, I don't think they did. They saw mine.
'cause we were invisible, but they probably saw us.
Don't yell at people when you're invisible and trying to escape.
See the unseen.
They'll hear your voice and recognize you.
Yeah, for the purpose of, like, you know, in-character information, you know that See the Unseen doesn't let you, like, see the full feature of somebody. That's True Sight. True Sight allows that. See the Unseen just gives you, like, a aura. Or so.
Oh, you just kind of feel that there's somebody there. Gotcha.
Not feel,
Or
there's, like,
see it,
literally a
yeah.
green, sort of, like, aura. Yeah.
It's like fairy fire, except they're invisible.
Yeah, essentially.
The fire in your eyes.
Hmm? Why their eyes had the green tint to them. So, Keba, you make the rounds and start playing up the performance that you just had one too many drinks, while the
Yep.
rest of you sort of slink back to the tent at the top.
We're very good at this stuff.
Armistice begins writing down on the back of his hand. Do not let them be deceptive. Do not let them be deceptive.
This was a terrible idea.
So, about tomorrow, I've got some ideas how I can help you, Gaz.
Yeah, I'm all ears.
Well, I can just make you in the horse really fast, right? That works.
Just gonna move my
You'd
character
also
because I'm
make
not
him
here.
invisible.
That might be a little too much.
They do
Oh,
have-
well,
Wow, it's
see
not
what
like they're
the
gonna
rules
see
are.
it.
they
Shut up, Giraffe.
they've made mention numerous times about things that are against the spirit of the competition. They have the right to be like, okay, you can't fucking make the rider invisible because people want to see what's happening, you know?
What about making another competitor's voice invisible?
You can probably expect a
How
would
very
that help
similar
you?
That's
response.
against the spirit.
I would make them disoriented.
I could also make your horse really big.
That would be ridiculous, but I don't think they would allow that. Something that would kind of help me is something that would stop my horse from smelling things, if any such thing exists.
I
That is
don't,
very specific.
I don't think I've got magic for that one, buddy.
What is your magic good for if it can't make a horse stop smelling things?
I can make it so your horse is unimpeded, or you are unimpeded.
Parent, do you have an ice belt you can use to turn the entire arena into a snowstorm? And then we can give Gaz this.
I mean, I have Ray of Frost, but I don't think that would be enough.
Gaz, can you put like your rocket boots on the horse?
You already did that.
I already put them on another horse for someone having a bad surprise.
Oh,
Well, I'll see
damn.
what happens in the morning, I guess. We'll see if the guards are asked Keba.
Well, we can always like disguise him. We still carry around that one dinky little thing we picked up an eternity ago.
I was really tempted to just teleport through that opening, but that would have been a bad idea, probably.
Just do it and say you were practicing a spell and cast the wrong one.
Very clever.
But I think what is going to happen for tonight's session is we probably end here. Because we really don't have the time to do the joust, and it's probably a good time to just leave that be the last or next week's session instead. You guys think that's a good idea?
I'm fine with that. It'll probably
Yeah,
take more than 30
good with me.
minutes, anyways.
Oh yeah. I don't want to keep you guys
Sure.
up late,
Yeah.
and Giraffe has circumstances, Yarmus has circumstances because of daylight savings. It's a little bit weird.
Oh,
today.
daylight savings has no effect with me here. That happened like a week ago.
Well, I know, but
We're
I've
talking
been
about
driving for
the
5
people.
hours.
We're talking about the people in other time zones.
Right.
yeah. Well, I mean, with you, Giraffe, you were rushed and stuff, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's fine. So let's do that. Hope everyone watched and had a good time. I mean, obviously you're here if you watched. Doesn't make any sense, but anyway. If, of course, you guys like the maps, they are my maps. I made them. At least these ones. So if you want maps for the tournament grounds, ISO doesn't provide them, I provide them. You can get literally nearly 100 maps for $6 on my Patreon, patreon.com/KoboldDM, for all your Kingmaker running needs, of course. Otherwise, Keba, I think you stream.
I think I do as well.
Yes.
Hello, I am Chris Kobold, the player of Keba, and I stream here on Twitch at Captain_Kobold on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, focusing on retro games and the occasional indie gems. Come by sometime around 6 o'clock Central Time.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I leave the floor open to anybody who wants to make announcements. Yiggs does some stuff, doesn't he?
Yes. Because I just drew something during the session.
Oh, well. Yes,
Well, my commissions aren't currently open, so
Hmm.
I'm just doing that.
Interesting.
at EEGS on Twitter, I think.
EX9.
Kix9 actually.
IEGS9, not legs, as I was always confused by it for a long time.
It's so funny. I love it.
I mean, legs isn't a bad name. Honestly, I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, I think that's it though. See you guys next week.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Like,
So long.